Communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update in English. My name is Todd Goldfinger, and here are today's top headlines. Thank you for being with us. Arctic air descended into the Northeast on Saturday morning, bringing dangerously cold sub-zero temperatures and wind chills that dropped to minus 45 to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit in many areas. Atop Mount Washington in New Hampshire's White Mountains, the overnight wind chill was measured at minus 108 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 78 Celsius, according to the Weather Observatory at the peak of the Northeast's highest mountain, famous for its extreme weather conditions. In quotes, "This is just kind of an Arctic intrusion," said Stephen Barron, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Gray, Maine. Sometimes in the winter, the jet stream dips and the Arctic Oscillation allows the cold air to come into our area for a day or two. End quotes. Friday's high winds were blamed for the death of an infant in Southwick, Massachusetts. The winds brought a tree branch down on a vehicle driven by a 23-year-old Winstead, Connecticut woman, according to a statement from the Hampton District Attorney's Office. The driver was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, but the infant died, authorities said. Most people heeded warnings to stay inside on Saturday, but some people had little choice but to go out. Next news. In a terrible way, the death of Tyree Nichols brings vindication to members of the Black community in Memphis who live in constant fear of the police. Often before, people didn't believe them when they told them how bad it is. The fatal beating of Nichols, 29, by 5 police officers tells the story many residents know by heart, that any encounter, including traffic stops, can be deadly if you're Black. Examples abound of Black residents, primarily young men, targeted by police. Some are in official reports. Anyone you talk to has a story. Even casual discussions in a coffee shop net multiple examples. A homeowner who called the police because a young man who had been shot was on the front porch. The responding officers ignored the gunshot victim and entered the caller's home. The caller was slammed to the ground and a chemical agent used on him as he was subdued. The officers then lied about the circumstances, but there was a video. A woman who lives in a safe Northeast Memphis neighborhood yet says her 18-year-old son was hogtied and pepper sprayed by police several years ago while she was with him. He became agitated after police arrived on the scene while he picked up his child from a girlfriend, triggering a mental health crisis, she said. Next news. A train derailment and resulting large fire prompted an evacuation order and a declaration of a state of emergency in an Ohio village near the Pennsylvania state line on Friday night, covering the area in billows of smoke lit orange by the flames below. About 50 cars derailed in East Palestine as a train was carrying a variety of freight from Madison, Illinois to Conway, Pennsylvania. Rail operator Norfolk Southern said in a statement Saturday. There was no immediate information about what caused the derailment. No injuries were reported. Mayor Trent Conway of the village of East Palestine declared a state of emergency, citing a train derailment with hazardous materials. Norfolk Southern said the train was carrying more than 100 cars, 20 of which were classified as carrying hazardous materials, defined as cargo that could pose any kind of danger, including flammables, combustibles, or environmental risks. The National Transportation Safety Board said Saturday that it was launching a GO team to investigate the derailment, and board member Michael Graham would serve as spokesperson on the scene. Firefighters have been pulled from the immediate area, and unmanned stream devices are being used protectively while crews try to determine which cars are still actively burning, village officials said in a separate statement Saturday. They said they hope to use drones to assess the scene in daylight and warned that residents might hear more explosions as the fire burns. Next news. Results from 6-year-old Anastasia Weaver's autopsy may take weeks, but online anti-vaccine activists needed only hours after her funeral this week to baselessly blame the COVID-19 vaccine. A prolific Twitter account posted Anastasia's name and smiling dance portrait in a tweet with a syringe emoji. A Facebook user messaged her mother, Jessica Day Weaver, to call her a murderer for having her child vaccinated. In reality, the Ohio kindergartner had experienced lifelong health problems since her premature birth, including epilepsy, asthma, and frequent hospitalizations with respiratory viruses. The doctors haven't given us any information other than it was due to all of her chronic conditions. There was never a thought that it could be from a vaccine, end quotes. Day-Weaver said of her daughter's death. But those facts didn't matter online, where Anastasia was swiftly added to a growing list of hundreds of children, teens, athletes, and celebrities whose unexpected deaths and injuries have been incorrectly blamed on COVID-19 shots, using the hashtag died suddenly online. Conspiracy theorists have flooded social media with news, reports, obituaries, and GoFundMe pages in recent months, leaving grieving families to wrestle with the lies. There's the 37-year-old Brazilian television host who collapsed live on air because of a congenital heart problem. The 18-year-old unvaccinated bull rider who died from a rare disease. The 32-year-old actress who died from bacterial infection complications. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Millennium TV 24 News on Roku TV, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Horizon Satellite, Samsung, and LG Smart TVs. Don't miss today's America, Editorial Today, and Global Democracy with host Fader Nir. Top of the Morning with host Abdul Ali. The Tri-State News Update with host Anthony Manzanet. And the Millennium News Hour with host Tanziba Noreen. Millennium TV 24 News, news you need to know.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update in English. Here's the continuation of today's top headlines. Thank you for being with us. The life of Los Angeles' most famous mountain lion followed a path known only to the biggest of Hollywood stars. Discovered on camera in 2012, the cougar adopted a stage name, and enjoyed a decade of celebrity status before his tragic death late last year. The popular puma gained fame as P22 and cast a spotlight on the troubled population of California's endangered mountain lions and their decreasing genetic diversity. Now, with his remains stored in a freezer at the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, wildlife officials and representatives from the region's tribal communities are debating his next act. Biologists and conservationists want to retain samples of P22's tissue, fur, and whiskers for scientific testing to aid in future wildlife research. But some representatives of the Chumash, Tataviam, and Gabrielino Tongva people say his body should be returned untouched to the ancestral lands where he spent his life so he can be honored with a traditional burial. In tribal communities here, mountain lions are regarded as relatives and considered teachers. P22 is seen as an extraordinary animal, according to Alan Salazar, a tribal member of the Fernandino Tataviam band of Mission Indians and a descendant of the Chumash tribe, who said his death should be honored appropriately. Next news. Tesla has raised prices on its Model Y in the US, apparently due to rising demand and changes in US government rules that make more versions of the small SUV eligible for tax credits. The Austin, Texas electric vehicle company bumped up the price of the Model Y long-range version by about 2% to $54,990 and the performance version by about 2.7% to $57,990, according to its website. The prices exclude shipping and an order fee. The moves made Friday come 3 weeks after Tesla cut prices nearly 20% on some versions of the Model Y, the company's top-selling vehicle. The price cuts were made to boost sagging demand and also to make more versions of the Model Y eligible for the $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit in the Inflation Reduction Act. The full tax credits will be available at least into March. On Friday, the Treasury Department revised vehicle classification definitions to make more EVs, including SUVs made by Tesla, Ford, and General Motors, eligible for the full $7,500. Okay. The change came after lobbying by lawmakers that had been pressing the Biden administration to change vehicle definitions to allow higher-priced vehicles to qualify for a maximum credit. Tesla CEO Elon Musk met with top aides to President Joe Biden last week to discuss the EV industry and the broader goals of electrification. Next news. They were blamed for long lines in Los Angeles during California's 2020 presidential primary, triggered check-in delays in Columbus, Ohio, a few months later, and were at the center of former President Donald Trump's call for supporters to protest in Detroit during last November's midterms. High-profile problems, including electronic poll books, have opened the door for those peddling election conspiracies and underscore the critical role the technology plays in whether voting runs smoothly. Russia and Iran already have demonstrated interest in accessing the systems. Despite their importance and potential vulnerabilities, national standards for the security and reliability of electronic poll books do not exist, and efforts underway to develop them may not be ready or widely adopted in time for the 2024 presidential election. In quotes. We have a trust issue in elections. The more we can say there are standards that equipment must be tested to, the better, said Larry Norton, an election security expert with the Brennan Center for Justice. It's like a seal of approval that really doesn't exist right now. Poll workers use electronic poll books to check in voters. They typically are a tablet or laptop computer that accesses an electronic list of registered voters with names, addresses, and precinct information, with some doing so through an internet connection. Next news. A 6th Memphis officer was fired Friday after an internal police investigation showed he violated multiple department policies in the violent arrest of Tyree Nichols, including rules surrounding the deployment of a stun gun, officials said. Preston Hemphill had been suspended as he was investigated for his role in the January 7th arrest of Nichols, who died in a hospital 3 days later. 5 Memphis officers have already been fired and charged with second-degree murder in Nichols' death. Nichols was beaten after police stopped him for what they said was a traffic violation. Video released after pressure from Nichols' family shows officers holding him down and repeatedly punching, kicking, and striking him with a baton as he screamed for his mother. The officers who have been fired and charged are black, as well as Nichols. Hemphill is white. One other officer has been suspended, but has not been identified. Hemphill was the 3rd officer at the traffic stop that preceded the arrest, but was not at the location where Nichols was beaten after he ran away. On body camera footage from the initial stop, Hemphill is heard saying that he used a stun gun against Nichols and declaring, in quotes, "I hope they stomp his ass," end quotes. This has been the daily global English news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you so much for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites. That means Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers, now on both network broadcasting, Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment and latest news, views, and editorials. Our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google, www.millenniumtv24.com. Please stay with Millennium News 24. Thank you, and have a great day. God bless.